Hello, and thanks for joining me on this short tutorial of how to connect the monitored safety devices to a Liftmaster sliding gate operator. Doesn't matter whether it's the CSL 24UL like this one, or an RSL 12UL, or even the SL 3000. They all have the same issues, if you will. And you're joining me today because either one, you're searching out a video because you're about to install one of these units, or two, you've already pulled out half your hair trying to figure out how to get all these lights to stop blinking. So I'm going to do us both a favor, me for not having to take so many phone calls with questions to answer, and then you because in about 5 minutes we're going to have this set up, whether you're just going to install one or whether you've been having trouble. So the first thing we want to do is, assuming you've got some lights blinking here, and also assuming there's no lights blinking up here on the set open and set close. If you have lights blinking on set open and set close, it's because you have not yet adjusted your limit settings, and you need to do that first. So once you've done that, then we can move on to getting everything else connected properly. The first step is going to be making sure we have the rubber safety edge properly, the end caps properly installed on it, so that it is sending a signal to the board that this is in fact a monitored device. So on the bottom of your monitored edge, you will have a hard plastic end cap with it's a two-piece hard plastic, a larger piece, and then a smaller one that has two steel pins that must pierce into the wire that's running the length. There's two wires that run the length of this rubber edge, and when this bottom plug is installed properly, that's what gives it its continuity to send the signal. The other half of this is the top end with the cable coming out. This cable has a brown and a blue wire, and that brown and blue wire connects to your wireless edge transmitter. So if you've done this properly, when you squeeze the edge, you'll at least get a blinking indication from the transmitter that it's connected. You may not yet see anything on the wireless receiver right here. This is the one with the blue light, but at least you'll know that your edge has the wires making connection. Okay, so what to do? Well, the best thing to do is just start from scratch, because like I said, it won't take any time at all. So what we want to do first, doesn't matter whatever error code you have or what lights are flashing, we're going to disconnect the photo eye from the board, and you can just pull straight up off of the terminal block to unplug it from the board. Now the photo eye has a black and a red wire. That black and red wire must be in the very top yellow terminal block, which is labeled close eyes interrupt. So the black wire on the very top and the red wire on the screw right underneath it. Okay, so we unplug that, and then we are going to unplug your wireless edge if you've already plugged it in. Now the wireless edge, depending on the wireless edge receiver, depending on which model of operator you have, if you have a commercial operator, it has an expansion board on it, and there is a port on the expansion board labeled wireless edge. If you have a residential model, you don't have this board, and you must plug your wireless edge into the bottom right hand corner of the main control board, and that's labeled EXP board. So we're going to unplug that also. Now what we're going to do, we're going to erase the memory that the main control board has of any wire of any monitored safety device that's connected to the system. So we do that by clicking and releasing set open and set close at the same time, and then doing it a second time. The first time, the The set open and set close light will illuminate solid, and the second time they will go out. That's just cleared the memory in case the board has some screwed up information, or maybe in case you touch some wires to the wrong terminals. It just clears all of that and makes it a lot easier. So now we're going to plug back in the photo eye. And you see the blue light came on, so we know that it's getting a proper signal. And when we pass our hand in front of the lens and block the beam, the light turns red. So the photo eye is doing its job in terms of recognizing that there's an obstruction. Okay, then the next thing we're going to do is reconnect the wireless radio receiver for the edge kit. All right, so now we still have our lights blinking. There's still something wrong here. So we need to make sure, since this system requires one monitored device for when the gate is running in the closed direction, well, the photo eye fulfills that. So you should have the photo eye shooting its light beam across the driveway. The second monitored device that's required is one for when the gate's opening. That's why we put the rubber edge on the back of the gate, so as the gate's running open, if that rubber edge contacts something, it will cause the gate to reverse. But more importantly, we need to make sure that we have our brown and blue wire connected to one of the yellow terminal blocks inside of the wireless transmitter that gets mounted onto the gate. Okay, very important that the switch next to that yellow terminal block is set to open, because this is an open device for when the gate's in the opening cycle. So we set that switch to open. Now what we're going to do, we're going to clear the memory from the receiver of any pairing that it's ever had with any device, because if you paired this with that red slide switch in the closed position, it's going to remember that, and it's always looking for a closed monitored device. So the way to clear it, we're going to press the learn button in the receiver and hold it down. The red light will flash, it will come on solid, then it will start to flash, and then it will go out completely. Once it goes out completely, you can let your finger off of the learn button, and the main board may or may not beep at you. I'm glad it's not beeping. But now that memory is cleared on the pairing, and now we can pair the two devices together. So we do that by clicking and releasing the learn button in the wireless receiver. The red light comes on solid. Now we're going to press and hold the learn button in the wireless transmitter, and we should see this red light flash 4 times as soon as the pairing takes effect. When that happens, you can release the learn button. Okay, there it goes. We can release it. Now the two are paired up. The board, fairly soon, is going to recognize that these two are paired. Oh, first, let's take this out of learn mode. Press and release the learn button in the monitored receiver one more time. The board just recognized the pairing. There's a valid monitored safety for our open direction. The lights stopped flashing, and now if we hit one of our green test buttons, our gate should move. It's also important that you let the gate run through one full cycle, open and close, before you make any adjustments or test your safety devices, interrupting the beam of the photo eye, anything like that. Because during the first cycle, the machine, the control board, is figuring out what the normal resistance is on the gate, so that the force reversal will be adjusted properly. And that's about it. No lights flashing means your gate should be able to move open and move close. and thank you for watching today.